So hey guys, new ban list, and you know what that means? Well, more disappointment, really. So this is going to be implemented on June 30th, apparently. We're limiting rotary, so that's like okay, yes. Okay, main question. Let's start off the right off the bat here. Why super poly to two? Did they just um? What is this hitting exactly? Like Super Poly's pretty poppin' right now. Some lists might even only play two. Is three Super Poly even that bad? Genuinely, like the difference between two and three actually isn't that much for something like this. So to put this into like math terms, I guess, this goes from like approximately 1/3 of the time to um well, just so that would go from essentially 1 in 3 games to now 1 in 5 games, or not 1 in 5 games. Isn't it like, wait, brain fried? So it goes from 30% to 20%. So it's, yeah, that's like 1 in 5 from 1 in 3. I mean, it's not quite like that insanely different. And then there's well, I haven't even accounted for this yet, but there's technically, if you're playing Super Poly, you can also play cards that have draw power. So conveniently, I guess, Super Poly slots well into decks that might want to be playing a small like Radiant Typhoon package, or just that quick play that draws two. So you can just draw into Super Poly with some stuff, essentially. And those decks might also play, like, let's say, triple tack. So they could generously, let's say, draw four, which ups the odds of seeing Super Poly in your games just a lot more. So, yeah, the odds of seeing Super Poly, it's still fairly high. The only way to, like, really butcher this would be to put this at one, or to straight up ban this, which I think is completely dumb. But also, like, how strong Super Poly is. Like, honestly, Super Poly ban, I wouldn't say it's completely off the table if they just printed a new card that did something similar but different to Super Poly, because some aspects of Super Poly are actually pretty nasty. So yeah. All right. Continuing on, we have like Reco and Mix to two each. So if we look at this, we're hitting one extender essentially. So Rotary is not a starter. This kind of does nothing like by itself. Normal summon Rotary that does nothing. You still need something else. Rotary plus like Ash technically counts for 2 card combo. But that's not like that insanely good. We have Reco and then Mix, which I believe actually is Mix, even a 1 card starter. This adds a non-level 2 Full Tune monster. And then it would be summonable, right? So yeah, these two hits are kind of like whatever. The big one here that they've done is just the rotary hit. Aside from that, there's not like much to say with this. It would have been like more impactful if they also didn't have 3 quick play rotas that they are still able to play. So in terms of 1 card starters, it's like a slight decrease in consistency for their 1 cards, because you have 1 less copy of Reco. And then for the 2 cards, you have 1 less Mix, and then a few less Rotary. But then again, yeah, you do have like 3 copies of let's see, is it this card? No. Say Synchro for Duelist Genesis, which allows you to add any Synchro spell trap from your deck to hand, including KT Synchro, because this has the word Synchro in it. And then of course it can add Synchro Overtake as well. Yeah, and you can play 3 copies of this. So let's think about this for a second. If we're looking at just Reco, you have to access this, in theory, you have 3 copies of Duelist Genesis in your deck, right? Then you have, I believe this is limited to 1 now, so you have 1 Synchro Overtake, so that's 4 copies. Then the 2 copies that we're now at, so 6 copies, and then 9 copies of KT Synchro. So yeah, you still have 9 cards that all go into like Reco, Q, whatever. And then JJ Cooltoon, if you want to include this as 10, any normal summon plus JJ Cooltoon, that would also get you into like Reco if you want to specifically start, I guess, Reco. Or just access to KT combo in general. So, yeah. The rotary hit is like moderately impactful. So, opening rotary, odds of that is less, but it's still very searchable. Does this make the deck a little bit more draw weak? I guess it does, like slightly. Not even by that much, is it? I mean, if it's just a coin flip, if they're draw weak, it still sucks to draw then, or attempt to draw. Well, all right. And then we have TG Hyper Librarian to 3, which you might think, oh, that's insanely broken. And then let's use our noggin here for a second. Okay, so there is the idea of if you were actually playing purely for draw power with Hyper Librarian, you would special summon Hyper Librarian first, and this would probably be with some combo, right? And then, okay, so we'll just go with only 1 Hyper Librarian, right? Then if we were to just raw special summon out essentially the rest of our extra deck, we would draw 14 cards, which doesn't sound like much until you think, oh, but wait, you have also special summon some monsters to actually make these synchros. Well, even if we like summon tokens out of the Aether, like Sword Soul, you're still needing to add some cards and whatnot, and you can only do that so many times. So, yeah, you're summoning cards probably from your main deck, somewhat. So, you start with 35 cards, and to even get into Hyper Librarian, it might take like a few cards being pulled out of your main deck in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you're summoning a guy from deck. Who knows? Either way, we can expect to see maybe at least around, I don't know, 8 cards or something like that being pulled out of the main deck, going from 35 cards to 27. And then if we draw 14 times, we only have 13 cards left in the deck in that case. But then we have to go one step further and let's think, okay, but now what if the monsters we're synchro summoning also draw us cards, because there are plenty of those, like Ravenous Crocodragon, that Cry synchro guy, Coral Dragon, Stardust Charge Warrior, Formula Synchron. Just there are a billion guys that are synchros that also draw you a single card for whatever reason. So now with only 1 Hyper Librarian, we're drawing essentially your whole deck now. So that's 28 cards being drawn with only 1 Hyper Librarian. So yeah, that seems pretty cracked. With just 1 Hyper Librarian, you're able to draw almost like the entirety of your deck. And of course, if we went through like 8 cards, I think you either have 1 card left in deck or no cards left in deck, right? Yeah. Wait. 0 cards. Yeah. So yeah, that's Hyper Librarian at 1 copy, by the way. So what if we add extra copies of Hyper Librarian? What really changes here? Nothing really changes, does it? Since with 1 you could already theoretically draw your entire deck without too much of an issue. So yeah, it's really making no difference, is it? Oh, and we can actually take another step back and say, if you play like 3 copies of Chicken Game and let's say 3 copies of Upstart, you can draw into those copies of like Upstart 1 day of Peace, like those cards. And also, if you just open them, you can just play them, right? To kind of just get through those, to draw through your deck even harder, if you want to do that as well. So yeah, this actually is probably the least impactful and least important thing on this list. Like, yeah. Super Poly to 2 though. This just makes going second a little worse, but this also is like a going first card, so it makes going first worse as well. Super Poly is like really in an irritating kind of position right now. Kind of has been for like a while. I guess part of the issue is that like every deck and their mothers just like Super Poly at the moment. Yeah, not feeling great about that, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.